For those people who don't know, John left the band, rejoined the band, left the band, and has now rejoined the band. So this is the second time you've rejoined?
Yeah.
Second time you've rejoined.
Third join, second rejoin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, didn't really talk about it until Flea and I were standing in my kitchen, and Chad had said something to me when I saw him at Flea's wedding. Is like, he misses playing with me. Me and him and Flea should jam sometime. So I mentioned it to Flea, and just because, practicing guitar is something I was always doing, even though I'm making electronic music. It seemed like it would be a nice soul cleansing thing to do. And it was within seconds after I suggested that Flea was like, "You ever think about being in the Red Hot Chili Peppers again?" So we started hypothetically discussing the idea, but there were plenty of reservations and things like that. But yeah, started to open up the topic then. And then he said he'd talked to Anthony about it, and Anthony seemed to find the idea interesting. So then the three of us got together and talked about it. Then Flea and Chad and I got together and talked about it. About a week or 2 weeks where it was just sort of a possible outcome, but we weren't sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. They weren't sure if they were going to do it. It was just, we were just trying to talk about it from every angle. I wanted to be sure that we were communicating and seeing it from every angle, just to make sure that none of us were going to wind up regretting it later.
Do you remember the first time you guys jammed together again, in this new incarnation?
Yeah, by then I'm already in the band. That was the thing. I was talking about, well, let's play together and see if the old magic is still there or whatever, but Flea went right past that. He was just like, he wanted to concentrate on the topic of whether or not I was going to actually join.
Wow.
So yeah, we didn't play together until maybe a month later or something at rehearsal.
So it's so interesting for me to hear what John just said, because I was not really privileged to those conversations, and I'm not exactly sure how it lines up, but I will say that John coming back to join and play music with the band was very much in the air, because Flea had not mentioned anything to me at all. Not a peep. No, nary a mention of John Frusciante, or that he was communicating with him, or even thinking about that as a possibility. I knew that Flea was in a mood, in a disposition where he wasn't feeling his best self in the previous incarnation. For whatever reason, it just like he wasn't on fire. And I started getting a sensation that I wonder how John is. I wonder if he would ever think of participating in any way in our music again. I haven't spoken to him, haven't, really heard what he's up to, but I just got the sensation like, God, it would be really nice if John would get involved. And I didn't think that he was interested in joining or playing guitar, but I was like, I wonder if he would like co-write a song or produce a song, or I just didn't know. I didn't know where to go with this feeling that I had. So I said to Flea, I was like, when we're done doing what we're doing right now, I want to talk to you afterwards. Kind of important. And I was going to bring up this idea of John participating. And he said to me, he's like, no, I actually have something more important that I have to tell you. And I was like, no, since I brought it up, I'll just tell you what I was thinking. He's like, well, I think you're going to want to hear what I have to say. I was like, okay, can it wait until after I tell you what I was going to say? And basically we were both saying the exact same thing at the exact same time, which was, what do you think about John? And when I presented my thing, he's like, well, I was thinking of taking a little further and, maybe seeing if he wanted to come back to the band. And I was like, what? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
Have you spoken to him? Do you know where his head's at?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I've actually jammed with him. And I was like, okay, I'm a little behind here. And that opened the door to all of this. And I remember going to see John at his house where he's lived for a long time, where he lived when he used to be in the band, and walking in and sitting on the couch with them and just trying to get a real sense of, is this coming from a place of love and creation, or does he still have any kind of bitterness towards me or us? And I did not feel any of that. I felt a great deal of resolution. I don't know if there's ever 100% resolution, because, we as people have too many folds in our brain to tweak out on stuff, speaking for myself. And, but I felt like whatever sort of animosity or resentment or all this stuff had more or less been resolved. And it felt very nice sitting next to him on the couch. And then he said one thing to me, which really made me feel like this is a done deal. I have no choice, come what may, for better, for worse, for disaster or wonder. And I don't know if he looked at me or if I looked at him or if it was just said, but he said, I was born to be in this band. And I was like, he is telling the truth. And there's no fucking way on earth that I'm going to stop that from happening or do anything other than get out of the way and just let it flow. Because if someone feels like that, then that's supposed to be.